hold music. You want to avoid it, and so do your customers. So say goodbye to hold music and hello to faster, smarter support with Salesforce. Make service more personal and agents more productive using built-in trusted AI. Then watch costs and wait times drop and satisfaction soar. Support customers in a whole new way with Service GPT. Learn how at salesforce.com/servicegpt.
Welcome to Nature-Backed podcast of Single Earth. In this podcast series, we are talking with investors about their vision of the new green world. My name is Tarmo Virki, and in this episode, I am talking with Shahin Dashti from Futury Capital. But first, a message from our sponsor.
Hey there! I hope you're enjoying the Nature-Backed podcast. I'm Merit, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Single Earth, and we're a team of more than 70 people building a nature-backed economy. And if that sounds crazy enough for you, then join us. Sign up at single.earth to be among the first to get access to our nature-backed tokens. And let's talk more on our Earth Savers Discord channel. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Nature-Backed, Shahin.
Thank you, Tarmo. Pleasure to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about the Futury Capital to start off with. How was it born?
I can maybe start with how it all started more or less 17 years ago in 2005, where it all started with the inception of the Werte Stiftung, which is basically translated to the Value Foundation. And it was started initiated by a lot of individuals, but I would say the main driver was also my current boss at the moment at Futury Capital, called Holger Vollmann. And how it all started was that they wanted to establish an initiative where they bring together athletes after their career in order to transition them into the business community. And what they then have built was a mentor-mentee program together with the Deutsche Sporthilfe, which is another huge institute here for the sports business. And they have then brought together a lot of individuals from the business side. It could be from ranging the SME side up to big international huge corporates. And those executives were then acting as mentors to help those athletes after their career to make the step into the business community, either on the operator level or also on the entrepreneurial level. So fast forward 17 years now, more than 100 top athletes have emerged into this business community. And as part of this mission of the Werte Stiftung, a lot of other initiatives have been launched. One of them is also our sister entity called Futury, not to be confused with Futury Capital, but we are working together very closely. So what Futury does is basically they have those core pillars, which are basically innovation and sustainability. And within those two pillars, they are launching different kind of batches called in their setup missions. And within those missions, on the one hand, they have the corporates. Those corporates are more or less, most of them, from the network of the Werte Stiftung. And on the other side, you have young individuals which are brought together into teams in order to work together on ideas. And in best case, then they establish a startup, which then get feedback from those corporate partners. And those missions have always a thematic focus. So at the beginning, they had themes like sports, finance, construction, food, waste, energy, and so on. And now they have transformed the logic to those three main thematic missions, which are basically construction, waste, and food. And within those missions, the teams are getting feedback on the one hand from the corporate partners, on the other hand from investors like us. Then there are also other main sponsors and partners, for example, Bain & Company, where they can get conceptual feedbacks about their business model and how they should attack the market. And those programs are run for 3 months. And within those 3 months, they really get a fast-track boost and infrastructure in order to build out from an idea a real business. And what is really interesting about this program is that a lot of those startups which have emerged from this Futury mission, they are now quite established. One of them was funded by us, Futury Capital. Some others were funded by different other kind of investors, and some others are like now working together very closely, either in a project or as a normal customer relationship with those corporate partners which were part of the mission. And those corporate partners are really big players in the respective field. It could be like the Schwarz Group, it could be Procter & Gamble, Nestle, Goldbeck, and so on. And what was then interesting, that after those missions were so successful, the people around Future were thinking it's a pity that we are basically helping those startups to get created, but when they then have their growth journey, we cannot participate. And this is then why the idea emerged that we should launch a fund in order not only to support those startups out of the mission, but also support more startups, especially startups in the Frankfurt region. So Frankfurt is located in the county of Hesse. So basically then the state of Hesse also supported this initiative to launch this early stage VC fund, which has a fund size of 20 million. So this is our first fund. We also then have launched another fund, a growth fund, and this has a fund size of 60 million. And here we are doing more like later tickets in Series A plus kind of startup investments. And what both funds have in common is that we have with those two funds, let's say a semi-regional focus, meaning that we like to invest into startups, into tech startups, which are either located here in Hesse or have a certain angle to the state of Hesse. So it could be that after our investment, they launch certain operations here. And usually we then discuss with the founders what is the best first for their business and also what makes sense from our regional investment policy standpoint. And
interesting combination of having like sports background and then the region background and combining the two.
Exactly.
And was it so that Frankfurt actually won the European League recently, right?
Yeah.
So you actually have some regional kind of also top teams.
Absolutely. And me as I grew up in Frankfurt. I love the city. So for me, it was a huge success to see that Eintracht Frankfurt was winning this huge trophy. And also what is also interesting, one of our portfolio startups, he is in his main job a professional athlete. He's actually the under 23 Europe champion in decathlon.
Okay, wow.
So soon he will be also joining the Olympics if everything goes as planned. And he is, as a side job, also founder and CEO of one of our companies in our portfolio called Preventio, which is a prop tech startup. And this makes it really interesting, this combination of sports. Also, we are invested into another, let's call it sports tech company called Sorare, which is active in the NFT blockchain space, primarily for the football industry, but now also transitioning to more sports, for example, baseball. And so here you can see our close relationship also to the sports industry, definitely, yeah. And the Futury Capital, two funds, 20 and 60 million. What kind of tickled my mind was when I heard you speaking in Barcelona, and I think you mentioned that you guys are in early stages working also on a kind of sustainability fund or some kind of the climate fund. Yeah. So Right. So also we are at the very, very early steps of launching this new fund, and this fund is this fund is in its investment strategy a bit different than the two previous funds, since the two previous funds had a quite sector agnostic approach, investing into a lot of different kind of industries which were fitting our policy of investing into software startups, primarily in the with a B2B business model. And this new fund, which we want to launch, will then be exclusively investing into sustainable technologies, since we have not only observed on the market, but also more and more heard the feedback from the people close to our network that this is what is the right thing to do on the one hand. On the other hand, we see all those macro trends emerging, right? So it's the changing consumer and investor demand. It's like those global, let's call them trend, like global warming, and then leading to new regulations. Then we have things like the resource scarcity, which has more and more become clear also with the conflict happening here in the Ukraine, not only on the energy level, but also on the food level. And having said that, we can see that all those big trends, together with our background being very active from our history in the field of sustainability and innovation, and also looking at what kind of investments we have made in the past 3.5 years. So we have made 16, we have invested into 16 different portfolio companies, ranging from a variety of industries, starting from fintech, prop tech, industrial tech, sustainability tech. Also, we have exotic cases like in the pharma tech, being the big German medical producer Demikan. As I said, we are active in the space of blockchain, but we have also a drone delivery company, primarily delivering medical goods in areas, for example, in Africa or South America, where there is no existing infrastructure to deliver such kind of goods. So it means that from our investment background, from the background of the people in the background of our fund and our whole ecosystem, it simply made sense to make those transition and also be like open for a transformation ourselves in order to launch such a transformation fund. Yeah.
The plan is in early stages. Then the economy around you starts to kind of crumble down. How much does it have an impact on the plans?
I guess you refer to the latest market.
Yes, the macro. Yes, exactly. The macroeconomy and the stock market and the crypto market, kind of everything starting from the crypto markets. I mean,
yes.
Is it having impact?
Well, obviously, it will have an impact on all of us somehow, definitely. What we can observe is that it hits the later stage startups at the first level. I think it will be definitely hitting the early stage startups at some point as well, since what we can see that all those companies being at the pre-IPO level and then going to the IPO, they are basically lucky if they can keep the valuation of the previous level, right? And what we think is that in the end, this is some kind of market cleansing happening. And now those very hyped models, like it could be those instant delivery startups and others, which were very hyped in the last 1 or 2 years, they basically are now struggling because at some point as a business, you have to show at this point you can reach profitability. And if this is basically not in sight at all, it makes it difficult for new investors to still join your project and support you with capital. Having said that, we believe that this is an opportunity where the solid and strong business models, they will stay on the market, and those which were rather hyped by market momentum, by over liquidity of the markets, they will struggle. So this is why today, even more than in the past, we have to look out for solid business models, definitely, yeah.
Mm. I mean, I think it's really kind of nicely put that the kind of overhyped stuff gets possibly cleaned out from the market, which in a way it should be good for everybody. That we're focusing on the fundamentals, hopefully.
Yeah. So I mean, it's happening anyway, if we want it or not, because those are the laws of the market. So if you look at, like, we are dropping the word sustainability so often. Sustainability is not only about the business model, which is sustainable for the planet, but also a sustainable business model itself, that it's not only dependent on short-term trends, but can last for a long-lasting time, right?
Absolutely, and I think that's the key, which is in a startup world often gets lost. The kind of the two sides of that coin, that that you cannot kind of build a sustainable, well-doing business without actually having a sustainable business model.
Right.
That's how to say, two sides of the same coin, right? But tell me a little bit about kind of your Futury capital going forward. What are the plans for how to weather the downturn, or I don't know even what's the latest macro trends in Germany, but I think from the global scale it looks somewhat bleak, at least.
Yeah. So I think at the end we have to look at our business, right? So our business are basically our portfolio companies. And for each individual portfolio companies, they are facing different challenges. They are seeing different opportunities. And obviously, you always have to keep the market in the eyes in order to see, not only when it's about fundraising, because this is where basically the market feedback hits you the strongest, but also when it's about winning new clients. Since I said at the beginning, we mostly have portfolio companies with a B2B business model. So definitely we have to see what is the feedback from respective clients in terms of, okay, are the sales cycles staying at those typical, 3 to 6 months? Are they rather shifting to 9 months, up to a year? So those are the early indicators that things might get tough. I think what we are pretty lucky is that the biggest exposure of our portfolio companies are still in the very early stage. So meaning most of our portfolio companies are still either in pre-Series A or still in Series A stage. So this means we are still quite confident, but you never know what can happen tomorrow, right? So we are quite confident that we are still, with most of our companies, at that stage where this market downshift will not hit us that hard at the moment, but we are still keeping our eyes open, and it still means like we have to look at the burn multiple of our companies more than we did in the past. So it should be clear that the discrepancy between what money is coming in and what money is going out is not getting too big. So this is definitely what we are looking at. We are also looking at that we have a strong management team, and they get all the support which we can offer them, not just we as an investor, but also the people in our background, also our co-investors and other people in the background of the founding team. I think this is also quite crucial. And in the end, they have to just keep on going, believe in their business, do what they do best, and all the rest should sort out by themselves, right?
It's probably not the greatest time for the startups to go out to the market and start raising capital, right?
I wouldn't say so. I still see that, because the fact is, if you look how many funds have been raised in the last years or months, and this money has to be deployed contractually. So it means those fund managers, in the end, they have to make the investments. There's no alternative to that other than giving the money back to the investors, like the LPs, which I think will not happen that likely. So they have to make investments. They have to be more careful with their investment strategy. But it means that it's basically what we said before. Those startups which were hyped in the last 1, 2, 3 years, they will have it much more difficult now, because I don't think that fancy slide decks and a few buzzwords will be enough to raise funds at the moment. You definitely have to have a strong team, strong vision, strong business model, no matter at what stage you are, either in the pre-seed level or on the Series A, B, C level, whatever. But then you need to show also strong traction, not only on the financial side, but also on the team side, on the product side, on the customer side, definitely. So it means that, yeah, you could argue that now there's some headwind on the fundraising market. But as I said, I see this as an opportunity, and it means that all the good ones, they will survive.
Slowly starting to wrap up. I mean, Shahin, as you were describing, the background of the fund is in the sports. I'm sure everyone among the listeners was thinking, what sports was Shahin doing?
Yeah, I used to play football quite actively. But on the one hand, luckily, on the one hand, unluckily, I had some injuries when I was at this crucial age of 14, 15. So I had several surgeries. So it means that I did not play football that actively anymore, but I could focus on school and university. So this was also the chance for me to emerge to this career path, which I am on right now. But I still like to play football with friends as a hobby. Sometimes I even join my old football club for training sessions and so on. But yeah, I like football. I do a bit of gym. I go for running. I like hiking. Since 2 years, I started a bit with skiing, but I'm still a very, very rookie skier. Yeah, so I'm pretty active when it comes to sport, even though I like eating even more than doing sports.
I have the same problem.
Yeah, right.
Good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tarmo, and a great initiative, and happy to see you soon, either or the other, on another event, or here in Frankfurt, in Estonia, wherever.
Absolutely. Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Join us again for the next episode. Thank you for listening. If you like the show, please give us a good rating and leave the feedback in your podcast player so others will find it too. We will be back next week. Turn on to Nature Backed Podcast.
I could tell she was a dame who normally knew what she wanted.
I'm looking for something interesting.
But when it came to podcasts, she was lost in a fog. That's where I come in. The name's Guide, Podcast Guide. I'm the community search engine for podcasts, and I knew I could help her navigate the murky waters of podcasting and find the shows that fit her style.
Can you keep it down? A girl's trying to listen to a podcast here.
Head to www.podcastguide.us and let's solve this mystery together.
Electricast. Hey gang, I'm Nikki LaCroce, host of Who the Fuck, a show that explores the power of human connection and the profound resilience of the human spirit through compassionate conversations that help you better understand yourself so you can live with the sense of peace, purpose, and joy that you deserve. Each episode offers a safe space for guests to share intimate details of their personal journey and lessons learned along the way, as we all seek to answer life's most important question: who the fuck am I? Electricast.